Hey, on today's daily sprint, we're talking about increasing our purpose, passion, and meaning, and we're diving into beliefs. We're getting into some really good meaty subjects here by Adam Grant, his books, Think Again. So today we're talking about not applying group norms to individuals. And a lot of times people use the word stereotype as a negative thing, and it can definitely lead to prejudice. Stereotypes can lead to prejudices, which prejudices are typically not based in fact, and that's what Adam Grant is trying to do. He's trying to get us to think like scientists and base things in fact as opposed to domesticated opinions or domesticated emotions. However, clinical psychologists have shown that a lot of stereotypes do hold true. So I'll give you a few. Tall people tend to excel at basketball. Now there's definitely outliers, okay? But the group norm is tall people tend to excel at basketball. Or sprinters, I was a sprinter growing up, tend to be a little bit shorter. They tend to have a higher percentage of type 2B muscle fibers. That's like really explosive type muscle fibers. PhDs tend to be better and score higher in tests of focus because they got their PhDs, so they're very focused. So some stereotypes are based in fact. However, it's important that we understand that correlation doesn't prove causation. So because I was born with some type 2B muscle fibers doesn't make me a sprinter. Okay, so just because there's that correlation, it doesn't cause me to become a sprinter. Or because somebody is tall isn't going to cause them to be a basketball player. So that's one thing that can help debunk a stereotype from becoming a prejudice. Stereotypes can quickly lead to prejudices when psychologists have found that people are in victim or blame mode. So they just want to blame a group of people for where they're at, or they want to play the victim and it must be somebody else's fault. So when you put a conflict in the middle of a stereotype, then you tend to get into blame. Well, I can never be good at basketball because I'm not tall like this guy over here. I can never be a world champion sprinter because I wasn't born with the femur length or the type 2B muscle fibers like this guy over here. You notice that there's blame and there's and there's anger involved with that. So 3 ways that you can prevent that from happening to you. Number 1, stay in humility by putting yourself in someone else's circumstances. You might find that the tall person wasn't really good at basketball at all. Yeah, they were tall, but they worked their tail off hours and hours and hours and hours a day to excel at basketball. So stay in humility by putting yourself in someone else's circumstances. Step 1. Step 2, explore your cultural truisms and see if they would be true if you were raised somewhere else. So like a cultural truism for me is I eat meat. So I look for a lot of data that's like, it's good to eat meat and meat's a great source of amino acids and L-leucine and all that. Well, would I think that way if I was raised in the plains of Indonesia where meat may not be there at all? It might be an all vegan diet. Well, I might have a little bit different views. I might look for a little bit different data if I grew up in a different demographics. So that's step 2, explore your cultural truisms and see if they would hold true if you grew up in a different culture or in a different geographical region. And number 3, we may have heard this before, but seek first to understand and find common ground. Get to know that sprinter. Maybe you might find that sprinter actually had very few type 2B muscle fibers. They trained a lot, they did a lot of plyometric training, and that's why they're a good sprinter. So find some common ground by having conversations. Hey, hope this was beneficial for you, and I'd love for you to hear your thoughts in the comments and share this. You have a great growth-driven rest of your day.